Newton's Laws of Motion by Elliott Swain. Newton's first law of motion. Newton's first law of motion states that an object in motion and an object at rest will stay at rest or in motion unless an unbalanced force is applied on that object. Have you ever been on a subway standing up? When the train starts to stop, you feel yourself being pushed forward. That's your body continuing to move, to be in motion, until the unbalanced force of friction slows you to a stop. Newton's second law of motion. Newton's second law of motion informs you how to calculate acceleration, force, or mass, just by knowing the other two. If you're biking and you want to know your acceleration, you have to find your net force, which is the amount of total force in one direction. Then you divide your net force by your mass in kilograms, and then you have your acceleration. Newton's third law of motion. Newton's third law of motion states that when two objects come in contact, the action force applied on that object applies the same amount of force on the other objects in the opposite direction, which is called the reaction force. Have you ever gone swimming and you used the wall to kick off to get some extra speed? What's happening when you kick off the wall? How is it boosting you? The reason for that is when you apply the action force on the wall applies that same force as a reaction force on you in the opposite direction, pushing you forward. All of Newton's laws can be applied in a single scenario. Let's say you are sitting on a bench and you weigh 80 kilograms. You're at rest. All the forces around you are balanced. Suddenly, a tornado forms and starts pulling you in at 130 newtons of force. You still are touching the ground, so friction force is acting on you with 10 newtons of force. So your net force is 120 newtons of force, and the force is no longer balanced. You can calculate your acceleration by 120 divided by 80, which is 1.5 kilometers per hour. Soon, the forces pull you off your feet, and your feet are facing the tornado. Friction is no longer applied. You then are pushed into a wall that is mounted to the ground. You kick off the wall with 440 newtons of action force, and that applies the same reaction force on you, pushing you away from the tornado. The tornado begins to dissipate and you survive because of your knowledge of Newton's laws of motion. These are my sources.
I use it on burritos. Burrito.